These are the participants in the Tata Steel Masters section, the A group. Levin Aronian from Armenia, Karl Nakamura from the United States, Fabiano Caruana representing Italy, Boris Gelfand from Israel, Sergei Karyakin representing Russia, Leonard Dominguez from Cuba, Anis Giri, the Netherlands, Wesley So, the Philippines, Naiditsch from Germany, Pantala Hari Krishna from India, Richard Rapport from Hungary, and Luke Van Wheelie, who I met once and got his autograph, is from the Netherlands. Average rating 2743, category 20. Great tournament. Don't miss any of the action. Hi folks, John Cordisco back again. Well, it's finally here, one of my favorite tournaments of the year. The Tata Steel tournament being played in the Netherlands. This is the 76th edition, if you can believe that. This is round one, and I gotta tell you, great game. My buddy, Karl Nakamura from the United States, is playing white, and Naiditsch is playing black. Hikaru is just almost on the 2800 mark. This is round one. These early victories are important. It's a long game, so let's get to it. It's going to be a Nimzo Indian. Nakamura has white. Naiditsch has black. I believe Naiditsch is from Germany. Knight F6. I'll breeze through the opening. It's quite a long game, so I won't bore us with the openings we already know. Knight C3. Of course, you can always stop the video at any time if I'm going too fast. Bishop. Queen C2, castles, A3. This is pretty much all theory, so I'm going to breeze right through it. B6, Bishop G5, B7, E3. Interesting, though, how you keep the retreat squares for this bishop. But you have to get this bishop out. That's why E3. D6. And it's really annoying, this pin here, because black star-squared bishop is gone. F3, controlling that important E4 square. H6, chasing the bishop. Bishop comes back. Black develops the knight. Bishop D3. This is all pretty much standard stuff. We've all seen this a million times. C5. Knight to E2 for Hikaru. Rook to C8. It's going to start heating up here pretty quick, and as the English say, it's hotting up. Queen to B3, D5, C takes, bishop takes, queen back to D1. That's actually a very good spot for her, even though it's the original square. I wouldn't really want to put her on C2, being, of course, after pawn takes, it exposes the attack on the queen. C takes, knight takes, bishop C4, castles. Unlike most of us amateurs, they leave the tension on the board. The bishops are going against each other. Bishop finally takes, queen takes. I've got my Fritz 13 computer on off screen, and it's even right now. Knight D5, queen E2, knight, bishop F2, E5, chasing the knight. Knight goes up to B5. He's trying to get back here, I think. Queen E7. Of course, moving that queen, he knew the rook was going to come to attack it, to grab the file. Rook, bishop, knight to D5. Now this is a fairly long game, so if I'm going too quick, it's just a long game. You could always pause the video. Right now it's a minute advantage for black. We'll call it even. Less than 0.2 of a pawn. Now we take a breath here and look at this. I think it is even. Both kings are in relative safety. Nobody's got a real stranglehold on the center. You've got two open files here and here for both white and black. Granted, white does have the bishop, which you'll see later. As Fisher always says, bishops over knights in endgames. Knight to c3. Takes. Bishop takes. Not disrupting his pawns with b takes. And here we have the classic. Bishop against knight. Rook takes, rook takes. Rook to d8. Rook to d2. Rook to d7. Queen to d1. Now either black has to take or guard the rook, so he guards the rook. Bishop b4. Rook takes. Queen takes. If bishop had taken, rook takes check, king to f2, rook to d2, king f1, knight to g6, and of course, black's up a full rook. After queen takes, queen to d7, Hikaru decides not to trade. Knight to g6, king comes up, f6, queen checks, king to h7. This is a pretty even game so far, pretty much from the start. I think, I know in an interview I saw Nakamura thought for a while he was winning, and then he kind of miscued and had to start all over again. That's hard for a chess player when you know you think you're winning or you have a good position and you mess up and you become even again, and you've got to play harder all over again and get that advantage. That's hard psychologically. Queen to d3, f5, h3. Hikaru is like Carlsen in a lot of ways. He'll play it right down to the kings if he has to. That's, I got to say, is a similarity, is their spirit to fight right down like Fisher, right down to the bare kings. a5, a4, knight to h4, b3. I think one or the other is waiting for the other one to make a mistake. Queen to e6, queen to d1, queen to g6. I think e4 was worth looking at. After queen to g6, g3, and that traps the knight. But of course Naiditsch knew this, and he takes it. Now, if queen had taken instead of the king, it would go queen takes, king, queen c8, king f7. This game's a draw. And these queen pawn endings are a nightmare, especially if you're low on time, which neither of these guys really were. They were low towards move 40, which we're on right now. And then queen to h5 is black's 40th move. So they both made the time control. This takes a lot of calculation, these queen pawn endings. And now white has the extra bishop. And black has 2 pawns for the bishop. King, check. King to d2. Queen to e4. I'm going to breeze through this because these queen endings can be nightmarish. Queen to g1, check. King moves, e4. Finally a pawn move and not a queen move. Now it's white's chance to move the queen. He's attacking the f4 pawn, excuse me, f5. Queen defends and attacks the bishop both. Bishop e5. h5. Here come the pawns. That's black's only hope. He's got 3 pawns for a piece now. Queen to d8 to stop the advance of the pawn here. Queen checks. King to a3. And this is where black goes wrong. Plays queen to g1. Immediately the score shoots up to almost 2-point advantage for white. Queen to g6. And black's still in the game. This is where the mistake was made. Move 50. Pawn drops. And then another mistake. You see this quite often. f4. Now it's over 2-point advantage. Almost 2.5 for white. When you miscue like that, you get flustered. and you make another miscue. He should have went h4. It would have went queen to e6, queen to c1, king, bishop, queen takes, queen takes. That's still a large advantage for white, but nowhere near as much as the way the game went. Queen to b7, f takes, doubling up the pawns, queen takes check, king moves, bishop. Now you're hitting the e pawn twice. Black has to check, bishop, check, king to a2, and this is where black can't hold it anymore. Queen to g5, bishop c1, hitting a pawn again twice, and that pawn is now, I call it a skewer against the black queen. You can't move. h4, bishop takes, queen, bishop f4. I think more accurate for a Carl would have been bishop d4. But when you're this far ahead, almost any move wins. Queen, queen to e3, h3, and it's pretty much a technique now. Queen, can't trade, of course. King to a3, queen to e7, check, bishop d6, queen to d7, bishop, king to g8, and bishop c3. And this is where Naiditsch from Germany resigns. Sorry I went a little fast there. I've only got 15 minutes on my videos. I got a copyright strike shown in Magnus Carlsen documentary. So I'm a criminal, and for a few more months. Anyway, folks, that's the game. I hope you enjoyed it. Win right off the first round for my buddy Carl. I'm real proud of him. I believe in the live ratings, he's creeping up now. He's 2793. He's only 1.4 points away from his highest rating ever. And of course, he's knocking on the 2800 mark. I think he can do it in this tournament. I think he sees what Carlsen missing. And Kramnik is not playing as well. He won it 2 years ago with Carlsen there. I know he can do it. I may be a little biased because I'm an American. I just like Carl. Anyway, folks, I hope you enjoyed this game. I want you all to remember, if you think chess is just a game, you're not playing it right. And I'll come more videos in the upcoming days for more rounds. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.
Hikaru, congratulations. It was a nice game.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to win. I don't know if I would call it a nice game. I mean, basically, position was very equal, I felt, throughout most of the game. And then somewhere around time control, move 35, 36, Arkady started trying to get creative. And I mean, I think basically if he just stays and sits, it should be completely fine. But the way he played it, he gave up a piece. And when he sacked on f3, it should just be losing, in fact. I think if I go king f2 instead of king e2, it should just, I mean, it's almost resignable. But for whatever stupid reason, I played king e2. I mean, I completely just misremembered the right order of moves, and so because of that, I mean, it suddenly turned into having to try and win all over again. And I think even at this point, it's a little bit better, but I felt like there should be some good drawing chances for Arkady, but he didn't find the right moves, and especially when he played this f4 move. I mean, I had this nice trick with queen b7. I just slowly pick up all the pawns. So certainly nice finish, but the technique wasn't my best.
Thank you.